This is Captain Joel, and welcome to my latest Marvel Puzzle Quest video. In this video, we will be discussing the newest 4-star character added to the game, Luke Cage Power Man. He was just released a couple days ago. He is a mid-range character in terms of health. He's got 15,641 health. He just had a new comic release with Iron Fist. Kind of funky artwork. Not quite sure what to make of it. It's almost like I guess it's somewhat trendy, but not quite. I don't know about that jumpsuit that Iron Fist has on. So, years ago, Luke Cage and Danny Rand teamed up to protect their neighborhood and help those in need. Eventually, Luke settled down to raise a family, but when a threat from the two friends' past appeared to cause trouble, the boys leapt back into action as Power Man and Iron Fist, the heroes for hire. So, he's affiliated with Heroes, Avengers, and Team Cap. I don't know if I really like this artwork. He looks kind of stupid. Like, why does he have such huge arms and such tiny legs? He really forgot leg day. I don't know. Not a fan of the artwork, really. But, yeah. So, the Luke Cage Netflix show is coming out tonight, or rather tomorrow, depending on how you want to look at it. So that's why they released him now. So he is a yellow, black, red character. So he's actually a somewhat simpler character compared to a lot of ones they've released lately. He doesn't have too many confusing things going on. So his first skill, Hero for Hire, is a yellow skill that costs 8 AP. Luke Cage is always ready to stand up for the little guy. Fortifies at 3 covers, up to 2 friendly special tiles. Then deals 1,299 damage for each fortified friendly special tile on the board. If Iron Fist is an active ally, creates a Strength 108 projectile first. So, adding in an additional cover from 3 to 4, it gives you a little bit more damage per fortified tile, and it makes Iron Fist projectile stronger. And jumping up to 5 covers, you now fortify 3 friendly tiles, and the strength adds on even more than 100 more to Iron Fist tile, as well as another 200 or so to the damage. So this skill, I mean, I think that in a longer match it can be useful, but I think in terms of the fact that you want matches to go quickly, and this doesn't have full impact until you've used it a couple times, makes it not that usable. Think about it like this. If you have 5 covers, and you have 3 special tiles out already, which is not necessarily going to be guaranteed to happen in most matches. How often do you have 3 special tiles out before you're ready to use an 8 AP move? But let's just pretend you did. So now you've got 6,000 damage for 8 AP, which is a little bit better than Hulkbuster's red, since it's 1 AP cheaper, and it does fortified tiles. But again, you have to have special tiles out first. If you had Iron Fist on your team, this becomes much more useful. However, currently Iron Fist is only in a 3-star mode. As a result, that means that you're going to have to use a 3-star to get the maximum benefit of this yellow, and that will be very bad for team planning. Additionally, you'd have to find somebody else to use all that black, because Luke Cage's black is a passive, as is Iron Fist. So I think that when the 4-star Iron Fist is released, which maybe 5-star, I don't know, it's we're gonna have to wait until his Netflix show comes out probably before we get him in an upgraded version, and I'm guessing that's why they plan to give this skill at all. Well, he might be a better teammate, but for right now, this yellow is not that impressive unless you want to play some sort of weird combo team where you have, for example, 5 stars with Luke Cage, but at that point, there's no point. You might as well just stick with other 5 stars or more developed 4 stars. So I'm not that impressed with the yellow, but you are going to get that extra friendly special tile. I think is really important in terms of making this do enough damage to be worth using at all. So I think you're probably better off having this at 5 in yellow. For black, this is the defender. It's a passive. Luke's unbreakable skin deflects incoming attacks, bolstering his team's defense. Whenever an enemy fires a power, creates a black strength at 3 covers, 154 protect tile, at 4, 221 protect, and at 5, 344 protect. So you're getting almost 200 extra protect from 3 to 5. The thing is, that's still not that high of a projectile that's being created. It'll basically mean that after somebody's already attacked you with a move, that they're not going to be able to do match damage to hurt you unless they're making match 4s or they have a 5-star on their team. So that's not really that big of a deal in 4-star world. So I mean, I guess it'll create more tiles to help out with the yellow, but still it's just not all that useful unless you get a bunch of them out there. So it really does depend on the team you're going up against. If you're going up against a team that likes to spam tiles, moves, then this could be very useful. In fact, if you're going up against goons, I'm sure that you're going to be using this all the time. And it could even make it so that Carnage's black is not going to hurt to work with this team. But it's not that great in terms of the protect side. Now on the other side is the fact that it's able to, if Luke's in front, he's reducing enemy special tiles, and at 5 covers he's removing them. So I'm actually kind of a bit mixed on this skill, because first off, to get Luke Cage in front is not the same as it used to be. In the past, it was very easy to get the character you wanted to tank colors, but now you have, with the championing system, even for a character that has the max number of covers, it's very easy to have them get randomly different level numbers. So to be able to guarantee Luke Cage being in front, it's not very likely. I mean, there's a lot of good red users and black users that are more likely that are older and more likely to have more covers than him. So I don't think that he's going to tank except for yellow. So, and additionally, in terms of whether you want to remove or just reduce the enemy tiles, some of them you're actually better leaving out and just reducing them. For example, if there's enough strike tiles out, Old Man Logan will not create any new ones when moves are used anymore. So you might actually be better off reducing them all to 1 by letting them stay out so that he doesn't create new ones. So in terms of that side. However, there's some synergy with his black and his red, as we'll get to in a moment. But that's just something to consider, that not all situations do you want to remove the special tiles. Sometimes you're better off leaving them out so that other special tiles are not created by the enemy team. So his red move is 13 red AP, which is incredibly expensive. It's kind of similar to the last 4-star release, which was also expensive for her red, which was 14 red AP. They really need to stop releasing characters with such expensive reds. So this red, Luke doesn't have time. It's called Buncha Fiddle Faddle. I've never heard that phrase. Luke doesn't have time for all this nonsense. Give these knick-knack paddywhacks what for. Deals at 3 covers, now this is for 13 red AP, 3,700 damage, or 6,000 damage if there are no enemy strike, protect, or attack tiles on the board. At 3 covers, that's pathetic for 13 red AP. Even with this condition met, it's pathetic. At 4 covers, he's now dealing 5,400 damage, or 8,700 if there's no special tiles. Finally, at 5 covers, he's actually dealing a somewhat decent amount of damage, almost 9,000 if there's special tiles, and 14,000 without. So that is over 1,000 damage per AP. However, that's 13 AP you need to use it. So it's going to be pretty late in the match, and it's quite a decent chance that there will be some special tile out by that point in time that might prevent this from even being used properly. So I think that on the one hand this skill is kind of useless without it being at 5 covers in terms of the amount of damage it does. On the other hand, it's not like you're going to use it that often. So I'm kind of mixed. I think it really depends on the opponent you're facing. I think yellow definitely needs to be at 5. I think black or red, it really depends on the opponent. If you're trying to just weaken the enemy's special tiles, you're probably better off having black at 3 or 4 and red at 5. Otherwise, you might want to have it the other way around. I'm personally going to probably, in a regular match, I would prefer it to be at 5 in red. So let's see what his moves will look like. Okay, hopefully we'll be able to get the move off once this match. Okay. So it created 2 special tiles, one got matched away, but that extra special tile was created because of him being out front. That's not going to happen so often in a regular match. Now let's look at his red. Right now there's no enemy special tiles out. So this is going to do 18,000 damage. That's well, he's boosted. So when he's boosted, it does 30,000 damage. You know, a lot of the time you think about how a character is regular, but I think in the current meta of PvP at least, you have to look at how good a character is when they're boosted. Some characters, when they're boosted, they don't really do that much more damage, so they're not stronger. However, Luke Cage clearly scales up very well if he's doing 30,000 damage for 13 red AP. That's better than Hulkbuster damage. Not that good of an animation though. So let's try to get a look at his yellow. Might be hard to get out. Oh, here we go. As you can tell with goons, you will get a lot of those free defense tiles, which pretty much nullified all that damage. So this is Heroes for Hire. So what this does is it's going to fortify 3 special tiles, and then for each one, remember he's doing more damage now because of him being boosted, because this is his release event. Then that's going to mean each tile, first he's going to create another protect tile because Iron Fist is on the team, and then he's going to fortify 3 tiles, and then he's going to do damage, which is going to finish off this guy easily. So that's pretty much all there is to it. He's probably one of the simplest characters that's been released in a long time. Most lately they seem to have been going with the more complicated characters, but Luke Cage seems pretty simple. I think that when boosted he could be pretty good, but I think in a regular match he's too expensive with his red. His black is not likely to go off that often, and there's ways for the enemy to make sure that on defense it's useless, and his yellow is too conditional to really do any damage. So I think that he kind of stinks unless you have him with the perfect team. So in terms of teams that work well with him, obviously whenever Iron Fist is released in 4-star land, he will probably make a great teammate. Until that point in time, you want to kind of look for other characters that create special tiles that can be fortified to get the maximum use of yellow. And you'd probably want a character that doesn't have red, or you're going to be saving up all that red for nothing. Although alternatively, you might want another character that has a cheap red so that you can use it quickly. So who would be a good teammate? So first let's look at the special tile creators. Carnage creates a lot of the special tiles. The problem with him is that he also has a red main damage attack and a black that's passive. So you're going to have to then find another person on your team that can make use of black, purple, and blue. Punisher can actually use 3 colors that are not used by Luke Cage, and that could actually be very useful to make his special tiles stay out because they're also stronger. So I think that Punisher is a good potential teammate for Luke Cage. I think that after that you don't want to use Sam Wilson. They're actually very similar characters, and that they rely on for their yellow to be used before their red can be strong. Luke Cage needs to use, well, I guess a yellow before a yellow or something like that. And there's not really that many characters there, and you might want to use Nova, except then you have again red and yellow that are kind of being wasted. Do you really want to use Nova's yellow instead of Luke Cage's? It's kind of throwing out potential moves. X23 might make a decent partner, except you need to get 16 green in addition to having 9 red saved up before you get any strike tiles out on the board. So again, not that useful. Finally, we get to Ant-Man. Ant-Man could actually make a decent teammate because he's able to create special tiles in multiple ways, whether it be through his purple, stealing tiles through his blue, or creating tiles through his yellow. Still, you don't want to use Ant-Man's yellow because that makes Luke Cage's yellow not as strong, and Luke Cage's yellow relies on using it multiple times. Next will be Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider with both green and red is able to create special tiles, and he does have a black that he can actually use. But again, you're left with the question of, do you want to... I mean, I guess even though they both have reds, you would have the option of using whichever red is more ideal, and it does create a lot of special tiles for you to take advantage of. Still probably not the best teammate, but it's a possibility. War Machine actually could make a decent teammate because he is able to use blue, green, and he's also going to be getting attack tiles on the board that Luke Cage can fortify. Still might not be the best teammate though. So overall, I think that you're probably best having Punisher as his teammate, and after Punisher probably Ant-Man or Ghost Rider will be the other best teammates to use him with. I don't think he's a bad character. I don't think he's a great character. I think he's an okay character that's when used properly and on certain teams. However, as we lately have been shifting more towards the boosted character of the week, being the one you pretty much have to play with to stay on top, he definitely is boosted much more effectively than some of the other characters. So I do think that is something to consider, but I still think that he's a bit too tricky to use quickly and effectively for regular PvP, but he can be very useful for PvE because of his shields and his ability to keep people alive longer. So that's my opinion of him. Let me know if you guys think there's some other good teams that might work well with him, and if there might be something I'm leaving out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.